After the fallout of the Shibuya Incident Arc, the world of Yuji Itadori will never be the same. He first leapt into action thinking that he was going to be going in as support, and ultimately it became a living nightmare for Yuji Itadori. Nanami, a man who fought alongside him against Mahito during a crucial moment during Yuji's development as a character, was killed off before his very eyes. Sukuna, the cursed spirit inside of Yuji's body and the very reason that Yuji eventually will be executed, took over his body after Yuji was forced to eat 10 fingers, and Sukuna went on a bit of a rampage. Everyone assumed the position during that time because Big Daddy Sukuna said he's going in with no lube. You also have Nobara, his fellow classmate, someone who he fought right alongside, was suddenly dying at the hands of Mahito, and her fate was left unknown. The news that Nobara is still potentially fighting for her life left Yuji shaken down to his core when Megumi told it to him. However, I want to take things a little bit further. I want to discuss whether or not Nobara should be killed off in the manga. Now, I can see both sides of this argument, one for why she should live and one for why she should be killed off. On one hand, allowing her to live still serves to give Yuji the taste of knowing what happens when you aren't strong enough to protect the people that you love. Either they die like Nanami or they come close to dying like Nobara. If she ends up having permanent damage, that's likely a daily reminder that's going to be staring Yuji in the face every time he looks at her. But Nobara is the type of the character that she isn't going to let him feel sorry for her or for himself, and she's going to force the character to get over it. So she could be potentially used as a way to actually fully get him over the hump, though it could be argued that Yuji has already begun that process of getting himself over right now. Now, on the other hand, having her lose her battle to stay alive definitely works to adding more conflict for the character Yuji Itadori, in particular when it comes to the internal conflict, which, as a reminder, I can't state this enough, every good story has a main character with a very strong internal conflict, one that rages and directly pushes against whatever their end goal is. And you definitely see that with Yuji. Now, it does raise the bar in that it makes Yuji have to come to the grips with the fact that he couldn't save yet another friend during the Shibuya Incident Arc, and now he goes into the Culling Game where he's going to be forced to kill, and there are going to be people that he can't save because there are going to be innocent people who are going to be killed during the Culling Game, and they're not going to be willing participants, but they are going to be killed. He wasn't strong enough to save those who he cared for, and now he's gotten stronger physically and mentally. He's being forced to exert that very acquired power to end the lives of people during the Culling Game. Not only that, but there's the added pressure of knowing that there might be friends of his who might not make it out the Culling Game alive, or they could leave the game with long-lasting damage. Now, for Yuji to lose Nobara, narratively, especially right before the Culling Game, it adds to the weight of his belief that people should die in a certain way, because it's at odds with how he himself actually views death. It's him being forced out of his childish view of the world, and it's him being forced to embrace the cold realities of life as he moves closer towards adulthood. It's for that reason that Jujutsu Kaisen has purposely broken itself away from the cookie cutter shonen cliches that we know that this series isn't going to be headed towards a happy ending at the end of this arc. People can and people will likely die. Yuji's life has had moments of brightness, but it's been overshadowed for long stretches with dark clouds that only grow darker as the days go by. What used to be his life before he undertook the hero's journey is now shattered fragments of memories of a life that is no longer able to be held in his hands, that have been so callous with each and every encounter with cursed spirits and with the politics of the Jujutsu world that he's been thrust into in some way. Gojo, Megumi, Nobara, they've served as a bit of a rock for him, something to cling on to during those turbulent times. A beacon of light, if you will, to lead him back to some semblance of normalcy. Yet at the same time, with the sealing away of Gojo, Yuji has seen one part of that rock chipped away, and Nobara's fate is left unknown. He's potentially going to see another crack in that rock that he's held on to, which is damn sure fitting. Yuji isn't the typical shonen main character. His story isn't going to end with sunshine and rainbows. There are going to be some tornadoes and earthquakes. There are going to be some hellfires across the landscape that are waiting for him. And it's possible that at the very end, it's only going to be him surviving, clutching onto the shattered pieces of a past that is far left behind from yesterday. And if it were to actually come down to that point, I can think of nothing better for Yuji as he goes into accepting his death, as knowing that he was able to make good friends and he was able to hold on to those cherished times. But it's also something very heartbreaking if Yuji is not able to actually save those people, but the way that you actually reward the character in this sense is if their death actually inspires great change in the actual character. That's one of the things right here, because of the fact that we know that this is going to be a tragic main character. We have to see him suffer, we have to see him overcome the suffering, and then we have to watch the character be torn all the way back down all over again, because characters like Yuji Itadori, it's the author's way of actually showing you what it means for human beings to suffer, to overcome the suffering, and how they handle being thrust back into suffering. Because like all things in life, yes, you're gonna have good times, you're gonna have a lot of bad times as well. And I think that losing somebody that is close to him like Nobara, somebody who was a first-year student just like him, this could be one of those things that definitely shakes him up and potentially even makes him pause before actually killing people during the actual culling game. And if that is something that happens, that does open up the door for potentially Yuji to be put in a situation where Yuji is once again forced to actually watch one of those innocent people that are ultimately gonna have to be forced to participate in the game, watch one of those innocent people actually be killed. And it should be worth noting, non-jujutsu sorcerers aren't going to be worth as much as jujutsu sorcerers who are actually killed off in this game. So that's going to be an interesting thing to kind of watch if Yuji sees innocent people get killed and it's just adding to the death toll of people that he himself couldn't save. However, that's gonna be it for my video today, guys. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Should Nobara die or should Nobara live? Do you think that Nobara dying before the culling game is gonna be something that's gonna impact Yuji as a character? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.